From the heart of the nation's capital and around the country, you're Inside E Street with Mark McCarthy.
The age of first-time motherhood is rising in North America and Western Europe. In 1970, the average age of a woman having her first child was 21. Today, it's 25. In some European countries, it's even higher at 30. The reasons? More and more women are postponing childbirth as they pursue careers. Women are marrying later, and many women are starting second families following a divorce and remarriage. And while birth rates are generally down across the board, more older women are becoming moms. According to the Centers for Disease Control, the birth rate for women aged 40 to 44 rose 3% in 2009. For those 45 to 49, births also rose 3%. For women above 50, the number of births increased 5%. In 2009, women over 50 had 569 babies. That's an increase of 300% since 1997.
Are you up in the air? Oh, yeah.
Lynn Leshevsky is a working mom, busy raising her energetic toddler, Kyle.
I had Kyle when I was 51, mainly because I didn't meet anyone until I was in my 40s, and I really didn't want to raise a son or a child alone.
Having focused on her career, Leshevsky finally met her partner, Tim Carey. When the couple decided to have a child, they were told natural conception was not an option. Neither was in vitro fertilization. The solution? An egg donor.
After thinking about it for a couple years, and also after the death of Tim's father, I thought it would be really nice for him to have a genetic baby.
But Leshevsky had trouble finding an OBGYN who would take her on as a patient because of her age.
I was pretty surprised when I got turned down by 2 or 3 clinics until I found one that would take my case.
And when she found a doctor to treat her, Leshevsky was given an intense workup.
I did an awful lot of testing before I got pregnant because they wanted to make sure that there would be no troubles with high blood pressure or heart problems.
Babies at 50 is the new frontier for motherhood, and a woman giving birth in her 40s hardly seems unusual. Joining me now from Houston, Elizabeth Gregory. She's the author of Ready: Why Women Are Embracing the New Later Motherhood. She's also the director of the Women's Studies program at the University of Houston. And from Albany, Bonnie Steinbach, professor of philosophy of the University at Albany and a bioethicist. She's also the author of Life Before Birth. Professor Gregory, is there any simple answer to the question of how old is too old?
No, there's no simple answer. When we think about age, we have to take into consideration many factors, including the fact that we're living longer and in better health. So that means that people are making different kinds of choices around sequencing the events of their life than they had in the past. Actually, when we talk about later motherhood now, we're talking about something that is not new. There have always been later mothers in the mid-40s, even to the late 40s. It just is now much more often people's first, second, or third child rather than their 10th or 12th child.
Is there still a double standard, when it comes to looking at older dads versus older moms? So, Professor Steinbach, for example, men are seen as virile, and we see plenty of examples, all the time. Is there still some sort of double standard?
I think there's no question that there is. I mean, the kind of opprobrium that older women get and the accusation that they're being selfish is rarely, if ever, leveled at older men. And I can't think of any explanation for that except for stereotypical ideas that it is women who are mothers and they're the ones who are the most important.
Professor Gregory, the so-called orphan argument that a child is more likely to have a parent die or become disabled if the parent is, starts out in their 40s or 50s.
In fact, it's more likely, I think, that the child will be being raised by his or her grandmother, which is another phenomenon that has to be taken into consideration here, than that her mother would die later. It would be interesting to see statistics, but there's a huge proportion of young women who have given up their children to their mothers, who are the same age as the people that we're discussing and are actively raising a large portion of the population right now. So the question of whether or not older women are able to raise children is really moot, is a false question.